So Deborah, my wife, and I visited Doug and Anne maybe a couple of months ago, and we were sitting out there having a chat on the table there, and Anne kind of ambushed me in the nicest possible way and said, "Would you be our president?" So it's a bit like when I got married, I couldn't quite think of a reason to say no, really. So here I am, and seriously, it's an honour to be an honorary president of an organisation which I have admiration for. I think it's doing a really important job. Before I go on, I should say I've been rather ill this past week, and still not quite right, and my brain's been on standby really for the whole week. So I have written some notes in case I just stood here faffing and not saying anything very much at all. So I am going to rely on what I wrote, so it has some kind of point. So yes, I did say yes to Anne. It is an honour, and I partly accepted on grounds of historical continuity, because back in 1978, which makes me sound like Mephistopheles, I joined the predecessor to SEEd, which is the Council for Environmental Education, all those years ago. So the Council for Environmental Education, or CEE, for decades, I think it was founded in 1967, something like that, did a really important job doing the groundwork, really, and establishing the validity, the substance, and the practice of environmental education and promoting that nationally. And when CE came to an end, that work needed to be carried on. It really did. It would have been in limbo and a tragedy if that was just let go. And I'm going to quote two words from Private Eye here: step forward and Finlayson. Step forward, phrase they use. So yes, Anne and I did coincide at WDOF just for, I don't know, a short while. And I remember thinking, this lady's a force of nature. I thought she's got something special about her. I remember thinking that. So since then, Anne took up the slack. She founded SEEd, bless her. She underwrote it. She pushed it. She made the whole thing work, and generally ensured that SEEd itself became a force for good and essential work in rethinking and transforming education towards personal, community, and planetary well-being. So it's great that we're here today celebrating that fact and Anne's unstinting work. So, looking back and looking forward, which I think is an important part of today, I feel like somebody who's run the race for many years, maybe 50 years I've been working in this field, and there's still more work to do, as you all know. Anne's been running that race too, but I think she acknowledged the fact that younger people are now coming to the fore, students and lecturers and teachers and policymakers. So I think there's a growing wave of people taking up this important work, not just within SEEd, but with partner organisations and more generally. One of the benefits of getting older, I think, is you get more of an idea of the broad sweep of affairs, including educational trends. And I don't think I need to elaborate on, metaphorically, the storm clouds gathering, really, globally, around the poly crisis and so on. And I've always insisted that education needs to be responsive to the conditions we face and young people will face in their lives. And over 15 years ago, I published a paper called Living in the Earth, and it has a subtitle, Education for Our Times. Now, this is published by Sage, and if you happen to look up this title, somehow 2 letters are missing off the title. I don't know how to correct this. If anybody knows how to do it, let me know. So if you look it up, it says, Living in the Earth, Education for Our Tim. I'm not sure who Tim is and what kind of education he needs, but that's what it says. So I know what people will think they'll get when they download it. But I want to quote just briefly from it, and I would say there, the point of the paper is, we are not on the earth, we are in the earth, actors in earth systems and flows, constantly affecting and being affected by everything natural and human in dynamic relation. We are unavoidably participative beings, and therefore responsible. So my new book, Learning and Sustainability in Dangerous Times, came out last year. Copies just happen to be there. It's just really about how can we respond to these changing times. So it's clearly education's role has gone way beyond just socialisation and social reproduction. And I think it's about reimagining education for our time. It's based on a relational and systemic view, which can indicate the way forward, and reassert human values of care, compassion and collectivity. And I think despite the fragmentation and systemic breakdown which seems to be happening everywhere, we are nevertheless seeing a flowering and blossoming of relational and ecological consciousness, particularly in young people, a life-affirming view of the world which manifests active hope and positive practical change. So at an international level, you've got that movement, but also you've got ESD being pushed, particularly by UNESCO over the past more than 20 years, which is a really holistic view of education, despite the, I think, negative effects of the neoliberal conception on the conception and purpose of education. There's still this strong push for transforming education to something we actually need to go forward. And SEED's played a key role in this, not just supporting teachers, but also providing a platform for this debate, rich debate, and promoting innovative thinking and practice. Last couple of points. I think there's powerful pushback now, aligned with ideological movements and still predominant mechanistic and reductive worldview. And this is now manifesting in the States, as we know, particularly in higher education. And I think we can expect pressures here. I just, a couple of days ago, came across a paper, published paper, called something like Sustainability Corrupting the Curriculum. It's, amazingly enough, but there is a pushback happening. But I think, our aims are clear, our philosophical grounding is firm, and I think our work is essential if we are to contribute to what the Club of Rome calls the Great Leap, or the Great Transition. So, incredibly important work. Go forward with good heart and confidence, because this is really important work for the future and for now. So that's my 2 pennies worth. I'd like to finish by not only giving my best wishes to SEED and everybody involved with it going forward, but also coming back to Anne to congratulate you, Anne, on all you've achieved, which is tremendous, really, and heartedly what you've managed to accomplish despite all.